Hello, grade 8 students. I am Mrs. Christine Joy Castillo, your mathematics teacher for this school year. And welcome to our lesson for today. Our first lesson is about factoring polynomials. But before anything else, I want you to prepare yourselves. Get your notebook and your pen to take notes of the important details. Feel free to repeat or rewind this video if there are things you do not understand. Are you ready? Here is our objectives for today's lesson. At the end of this lesson, you will be able to A. Factor completely different types of polynomials, and B. Solve problems involving factors of polynomials. But what is factoring? It is a process of finding the factors of a mathematical expression, which is the opposite process of the multiplication. To better understand factoring, let us start with illustration. First, finding the product of 5 and 3. So since finding the product means you multiply. 5 times 3 is equal to 15. Again, we say that multiplication is the opposite of factoring. So, if we are tasked to find the factors of 15, the answer must be 15 is equal to 5 times 3, or 3 times 5. Second, finding the product of x and x. So again, you multiply x times x is equal to x squared. The opposite process of multiplication is factoring. How about finding the factors of x squared? The answer must be x squared is equal to x times x. Third illustration, finding the product of 2x and 3x. To multiply, 2x times 3x is equal to 6x squared. How about if we are tasked to find the factor? Finding the factors of 6x squared. The answer should be 6x squared is equal to 2x times 3x, or 3x times 2x. That is the concept of factoring. There are different ways to factor polynomials. Number one, you can use common monomial factor. Second, you can use the concept of factoring difference of two squares. Number three, you can also factor polynomials using sum and difference of two cubes. Number four, you can factor out perfect square trinomials. And number five, you can factor out general trinomials. Let's try this. Identify what is common in the following illustrations. Number one, what do you think is the common thing about Philippines and Japan? That's right. They are both Asian countries. Number two, how about physics and chemistry? What do you think is the common thing between the two? That's correct. They are both branches of science. Number three, how about integers and fractions? What is their common thing? That's right. They are both real numbers. Number 4. How about 5 and 25? What is their common thing? You're right. They are both divisible by 5. Number 5. 60 and 90. What do you think is their common thing? Correct. They are both divisible by 10. That's right. And divisible by 30. Very good. Actually, in the last two examples, we were able to identify the common factors. But in the last example, there are many common factors, but only one greatest common factor. So greatest common factor, or the GCF, is the largest quantity that is a factor of all the integers or polynomials involved. Let us discuss first factoring using the common monomial factors. Monomial means an expression consisting one term, and factors meaning an exact divisor. Example number 1. Find the common monomial factor of 6x cubed plus 3x squared y. Solution. Step 1. Factor each monomial. First monomial that we are going to factor out is 6x cubed. So what is the factors of 6? 2 times 3. How about the factors of x cubed? That's right. X times x times x. And the second monomial that we are going to factor out is the 3x squared y. So you factor 3 and x squared y, which is x times y. Next, step 2, identify the common factors. So what are the common factors among the two? Correct. They are both having 3. Also, in the variable, there are 2 common variable x. So the common factors are 3 times x times x. So step 3, find the product of the common factors. You multiply 3x and another x, which will give us 3x squared. So the greatest common factor, or the greatest common monomial factor, is equal to 3x squared. A while ago, we were tasked to identify the greatest common monomial factor. Now, we are tasked to write the given polynomial in factored form. Again, we have the same polynomial, 6x cubed plus 3x squared y. Solution, step 1. Determine the number of terms. How many terms do we have in the given polynomial? That's right. We have 2 terms. Step 2. Determine the GCMF. So the greatest common monomial factor that we solved a while ago is equal to 3x squared. Step 3. Find the other factor by dividing each term by the GCMF. Given polynomial 6x cubed plus 3x squared y, divide each term by the GCMF. First, 6x cubed divided by 3x squared plus 3x squared y divided by 3x squared. Rewrite each term as a product. And then cancel out the common factor in the numerator and the denominator. So first you cancel out 3 and the common variables. On the other hand, common also is the number 3 and the common variables. So the remaining factors are 2x plus y. Step 4. Write the complete factored form. To write the complete factored form, first you write the common monomial factor, which is 3x squared. And you multiply it with the other factor, which is 2x plus y. Conclusion. The factored form of 6x cubed plus 3x squared y is equal to 3x squared times 2x plus y. Let's try another example. Example 2. Factor the given polynomial 12x cubed y raised to 5 minus 20 x raised to 5 y squared z. Solution. Step 1. Determine the number of terms. Again, how many terms do we have? That's right. There are 2 terms. Step 2. Determine the greatest common monomial factor. So first, you factor out each monomial. Factor 12x cubed y raised to 5. So the factors of 12 is 4 times 3. And then factor out the variables. X cubed, so there are 3x, and y raised to 5, so there are 5 y's. And then the second monomial you factor out. 20, the factors are 4 times 5. And then factor out the variables. X raised to 5, so there are 5x. Y squared, so there are 2y's. And z. Identify the common factors. So what is the common numerical factor? Correct, 4. How about in the variables? There are 3 common variable x. So that will give us x cubed. And there are 2 common variable y. That will give us y squared. In other words, the greatest common monomial factor of the given polynomial is equal to 4x cubed y squared. Step 3. Find the factor by dividing each term by the GCMF. So again, write down the given polynomial and divide each term by the GCMF. Write down the following and divide it by 4x cubed y squared. Cancel out the common factors. So the common factors in the first monomial is x cubed, and in the second monomial is y squared. And then divide the remaining factors. 12 divided by 4 equals to 3. And then simplify the variable y by using the law of exponents. So y raised to 5 divided by y squared will give us y raised to 3. Copy the operation minus. Divide 20 and 4. That will give us 5. And then applying the law of exponent again, since x is common, so x raised to 5 divided by x raised to 3. That will give us x squared. You simply subtract the exponent if you divide variables. And then y squared is common, so you cancel out, or that is equal to 1. And then copy the variable z. Step 4. Find the complete factored form. So the complete factored form of 12x cubed y raised to 5 minus 20x raised to 5 y squared z is equal to, first write down the GCMF. 4x cubed y squared, and then copy the other factor, times 3y cubed minus 5x squared z. Example number 3. Factor the given polynomial. 30a cubed b squared minus 15a squared c squared plus 10abc. Solution. Step 1. Determine the number of terms. In the given polynomial, there are 1, 2, 3 terms. Step 2. Determine the greatest common monomial factor. How do we identify the greatest common monomial factor? First, you factor out each monomial. So first, what are the factors of 30a cubed b squared? 30, the factors are 6 times 5. And then factor out the variables. A cubed, which is 3a's, and b squared, which is 2b's. On the second monomial, factor out 15a squared c squared. So the factors of 15 are 3 times 5. And then factor out a squared and c squared. And the last monomial you factor out. What are the factors of 10? The factors of 10 are 2 times 5. And then factor out a times b times c. Now, identify the common factors among the three. In the numerical factors, the common factor is 5. How about in the variables? The only common variable among the three is an a. So, the greatest common monomial factor of the given polynomial is 5a. Let us continue identifying the given or the factor of the given polynomial. Step 3. Find the other factor by dividing each term by the GCMF. So copy the given polynomial and divide each term by the GCMF. So the GCMF is 5a and divide it to each of the term. So 30 divided by 5 is equal to 6. A raised to 3 divided by a is equal to a squared. And then copy the remaining factor b squared. Copy the operation minus and then proceed to the second term. 15 divided by 5 is equal to 3. How about the variable? A squared divided by a is equal to a. And then copy the remaining factor c squared. Copy the operation plus and then divide 10 and 5, which will give us 2. And then divide the variable or the common variable. A divided by a is equal to 1. So no need to write it down in our final answer. All you need to do is to copy the remaining factors, b and c. Step 4. Write the complete factored form. To write down the complete factored form, copy first the greatest common monomial factor, which is 5a, and then multiply it by the other factor that we solved. So open quantity 6a squared b squared minus 3ac squared plus 2bc. So what have we learned today? We have learned factoring using common monomial factors. So can you identify the steps in factoring polynomials using common monomial factor? Let's review. Below is the summary of the steps of factoring the greatest common monomial factor. Number 1, determine the number of terms. 2, find the GCF of the numerical coefficients. 3, find the variable with the least exponent that appears in each of the terms of the polynomial. It serves as the GCF of the variable. Step 4, get the product of the GCF of the numerical coefficient and the variables. It serves as the greatest common monomial factor of the given polynomial. Step 5, find the other factor by dividing the given polynomial by its greatest common monomial factor. And lastly, write the final factored form of the polynomials. Now it's your turn. Are you ready? Now it's time to open your modules. Prepare yourself and get your modules and your pen. You can also use calculator if you find the numbers difficult to compute. Good luck!